In order to perform proper suemonogiri or tameshigiri, which is test cutting, we need to understand how to roll a mat, which is a tatami mat, which we call it tatami omote, or it's a mat cover. It's made of rice straw, and as it's rolled and then soaked, we soak it for about 12 hours, and it gains the consistency of a normal human target. So what I'm going to teach you right now is how to roll the mat so that it stays tight, it remains together, and a lot of technical pieces don't go flying all over after you performed your cut. So we take the mat and lay it out in front of us, and then we fold it toward the center. This gives you less mat to have to roll in the process, and bring it about halfway or a little bit past, so you're folding up to about 2/3 of the mat. Then you bring the other side and just fold it in approximately 1 foot. So we've got 2 folds in the mat at this point. Then spin the mat away from you so that the shorter folded part is away from you. So that now we're holding one end of the mat, the longer folded edge, toward myself. Now I want to keep the mat very firm and very tight as I roll it. So what I do is I take my left foot and place it on the mat in this position. Then from behind, as my foot is centered, I start to roll the mat, keeping tension as I pull. And I start to wrap and pull. This keeps firm tension on the mat so that when I cut, it doesn't go flying, the pieces don't go flying all over, as well as the fact that when I begin to soak the mat, it's obviously going to expand slightly. So I want a very tight fit in the beginning. Continuing to roll all the way up until eventually I meet the smaller folded piece. At that point, I release my foot and start to roll with just my hands. Continuing to roll, tucking the last folded piece in and rolling toward the final edge. Once I've gotten to the edge, I want to reach around and squeeze that edge tight against the full maki, the full rolled mat. Notice as I bring it up, there are no exposed raw edges now. Everything's folded in and tight so that nothing goes flying after I cut. Then I take it and squeeze it between my knees, holding the top. The best thing to have that we found to secure the mat are rubber bands. They go on very quickly. They'll expand slightly with the mat as it's soaked. And if you have about 6 of them, it's usually very good. We usually like to use them as target areas on the mat, and we can place them where we want to. It's much easier for yourself to use that as a guide when you're creating your cuts. So just take them, double them over, create equal spaces as much as you can on the mat itself, which will give you even cuts as you begin to perform your suemonogiri or tameshigiri test cutting. Once I get most of the one end covered, even everything up, then turn the mat over, keeping good pressure against the folded edge, and finish on the other side. I try to even out all my spacing so that I get nice even cuts on the mat. That way I get more cuts out of a mat also, that way rather than cutting just one mat in half. And there you have a typically well-rolled mat, fairly even spacing, all ready to soak for 12 hours and perform your cuts.